Welcome back to the GTN show. Well then, Alex Yee.
Yeah, wow. In his own words, one of the best performances of his life, running a 2:06:38 at the Valencia Marathon.
Yeah, absolutely unreal. Also this weekend, we saw Georgia Taylor-Brown setting a new 70.3 world record. Patagonman took place, and also this past week, Spencer Matthews completed his 7 iron distance triathlons across 7 continents. Yeah, very impressive.
Yeah, very impressive. We also had some drama at 70.3 Indian Wells, and a couple of big names in triathlon announced their retirement.
Well, should we start by discussing Alex Yee's phenomenal performance this weekend?
Well, yeah, the marathon heard around the world, I think, around the triathlon world anyway. 2:06:38 is an unbelievable time for any runner, but for a triathlete, it's, mind-blowing.
So he placed 7th overall in the Valencia Marathon International Race, which attracts some of the best runners in the world. That time of 2:06:38 actually places him the second fastest ever marathon time in British history, behind none other than Sir Mo Farah.
He actually beat the favourite, Phil Seesman, by a few seconds, and they were both paced by another Brit, Emil Kerris, who was the previously second fastest Brit. And they'd all been training together. He paced them to 21 miles before the other two broke away, and he took the tape in that trio. If you look at his splits there...
It's like clockwork, isn't it?
It is. Very, like, he was negative split, but only by about 30 seconds. I think, 1:03:32 for the first half and 1:03:06 for the second half, which is perfectly
He
paced.
basically just yo-yoed between this fine margin of around sort of like 2:56 per K and 3:02 per K. So basically was going through 5K splits in 15 minutes flat, more or less.
And we were going to do like a little comparison about the fastest marathons by triathletes in history, but actually there's not much point because the second is so far away from his time. I mean, he's up there with the best runners in history. Did spark a little bit of discussion in the office, like particularly with our GCN colleagues who were like, is he going to shift and go to the Olympics in LA 2028 for the marathon instead of for triathlon?
Because in theory, he's
run the qualifying time now. Yeah, I think it was 2:08 something was
in that region,
qualifying time. Yeah. So he could, if he wanted to. I don't think he would do. He's definitely got a better chance of getting another gold medal in triathlon.
Yeah, maybe we should check the Olympic schedule just in case he marathons.
Just to do both. That would be an impressive double. That would be way more impressive than even Taylor Knibb doing the bike.
And obviously now everyone's thinking, wow, if you can run that over a marathon, can't wait for him to step away from the Olympic distance racing.
Do an Ironman. Yeah, I mean, I think we do have to caveat all of this by saying that he has taken pretty much an entire year away from triathlon training, specifically gearing up for this. It was originally the London Marathon. He was just going to be a one and done marathon and then come back to triathlon, but he's actually extended that all the way out to this marathon. I have a feeling it'll be a while before we see him run another marathon. I think he's going to turn his attention to LA 2028 and the triathlon rather than marathon. But yeah, he's put his name in the history books for the marathon. Very impressive.
Very, very impressive. Not such great news. Moving on now to Fenella Langridge, who unfortunately had a crash ahead of Ironman Western Australia this weekend. It seems like her front end failed.
Yeah, we don't have all the details. She said, took a tumble off my bike on Wednesday when my front end suddenly failed. Picked up a few bumps and bruises and ended up needing a whole new front end. But here we are, grateful, smiling, and ready, or so ready, to race and defend my title at Western Australia. That wasn't meant to be. She did the swim and then DNF'd on the bike, which is not surprising when you crashed on the Wednesday before the race. So yeah, we wish her well and get better soon. Very disappointing end to her trip out there, because I think she really was looking for that to be something of a comeback race from a tough year.
Yeah, she's had quite a journey, hasn't she? I mean, we haven't actually caught up with Fenella personally, but I mean, based on just the photos of her in a hospital bed with blood all over her face, I'm not sure it was looking great for the race a few days later, was it?
She was trying to be positive, as she always does.
Also, moving on, we've got a couple of notable retirements to add to the list of 2025 retirements already. Josh Amberger has announced his retirement.
Yeah, and he did it in style because he was down in Patagonman in Chile this past weekend, doing his final race. His partner, Ashley Gentle, actually posted a really touching little message to him. It's the end of a remarkable chapter for Josh Amberger. From our early junior days to the long stretches spent apart to finally traveling the world side by side as a team, I couldn't have found a better person to share my life with, and I'm eternally grateful for what that triathlon brought us together. She says, ironically, as she gets ready for Qatar this coming weekend, and he's all the way in Patagonman in Chile. So they were actually apart when she's put that note out. But yeah, they have spent quite an interesting life together doing triathlon, and he's calling it quits on the triathlon career. No word how much longer she's going to be going for, but she is still going strong.
Yeah, he's brought a lot to the triathlon world, both on course and off course, hasn't he, really? I mean, like, on course, obviously, his swimming is just phenomenal. So he would constantly sort of add a bit of spice to the racing, but then also off course, particularly with his post-race recaps, were hilarious as well.
Yeah, exactly. His race reviews were brilliant. Well-worded articles that were always entertaining. We will miss those, that's for sure. Another retirement was also announced this past weekend. Else Visser has announced that she will no longer be racing professional triathlon. She did her last race at Ironman Western Australia this past weekend. She's actually trained as a surgeon, not going back to surgery, but is going back to medical research and public health, I believe, to take on a new challenge in 2026, so we won't see her on the race course again.
Yeah, and she had such an interesting kind of route into triathlon, didn't she? Through, well, basically, she was involved in a shipwreck, so she was sort of trapped out at sea, had to swim in quite a long way, and that's where she sort of found this ability to be able to swim, I guess, long distances, and then this love for triathlon sort of grew from there. Before she knew it, she was a professional triathlete, which is phenomenal, isn't it? Obviously, now decided to step away, so yeah, wishing her all the best.
Yeah, exactly. Congratulations. And finally, Spencer Matthews has completed 7 Ironmans on 7 continents. And the last one was by far the most epic. Did you see what he was wearing for that swim?
I barely believe he could move his arms in that wetsuit.
Exactly. I mean, the wetsuit was about this thick all over, all the way, including his face, including the face hood, was, absolutely incredible. And then he got onto the bike to do 180 Ks in Antarctica, and he did that on a 400-meter loop.
Well, yeah, I mean, I can't imagine there's many places to...
hard to carve out a course, maybe. But 450 laps of a 400-meter course to make up the bike leg.
I mean, even if I just did that in the UK, let alone in sort of like blizzard conditions, I'd struggle to get my head around that one.
Yeah. Well, it took him 1 hour, 47 minutes to get through the swim, and then 18 hours and 50 minutes to get through the many 450 laps of the bike before he started the run, which took him 5 hours and 6 minutes. So a total of 28 hours and 51 minutes, which Heather pointed out last week when he did 17 hours something for an Ironman that he officially doesn't qualify as an Ironman because he missed the cutoff time. But I think we'll let this one slide.
Apparently that is actually a world record for an iron distance triathlon in the Antarctic, unsurprisingly.
I bet, yeah. I mean, is it the second person who's done? We spoke last time about someone else has done 7 on 7 continents, but it took them almost 4 years to complete all 7 of them. He's done this in 20-something days. It's very impressive. So he's got a couple of world records there, the fastest one in Antarctica, plus the fastest completing 7 of them in 7 continents. He's all doing it for a good cause, which is the James's Foundation. Is it called? James's Place Foundation, sorry. He's raising money for men's mental health. So give him a bit of help on that if you can, just to support his cause. He's clearly gone through the ringer to get there.
I think it's quite funny that he's doing this all whilst his partner, Vogue Williams, is also now, she's just started on I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. So the both of them are absolutely putting themselves through it at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah, in the jungle, eating all kinds of things. I'm not sure which I prefer more.
Moving on then, also spotted this, that TriDot are trying to help and promote women's participation in sport by offering women free access to their TriDot platform. Yeah,
this is an initiative by Mark Allen, the GOAT, 6-time Ironman world champion. And he has basically said that there's a circular discussion in triathlon. Why don't sponsors and events invest in women? And the reason is because there's fewer women participants, which means they don't invest in women, so there's fewer. And he was trying to break that cycle. So they initially opened it up to 500 women to get free coaching for a year for 12 months on the TriDot platform. They got such a big uptake on that they've doubled it to open up to 1,000 athletes. Your registration is now, I did check the website, all the slots are taken straight away. And they'll start in the beginning of January. For the whole year, you get TriDot supported coaching by the TriDot platform and to whatever goal triathlon races those women have. Nice. Pretty cool initiative, yeah. I mean, I guess you're being coached by the AI, right?
I'd assume so.
Yeah. And that is one thing that the AI can definitely do is scale really well. You get 500 uptakes. It's quite easy to double that to 1,000 because the AI is not going to batter an eyelid at an extra 500. But still a really cool initiative to get that many women into the sport, and clearly a lot of uptake. I mean, they sold out in minutes.
Yeah.
So
nice. Also, Ironman have released their Race Ranger data.
And it appears that the Race Ranger is working. It's improving the drafting in all of their series. From 2024 to 2025, there was a significant reduction in how much drafting the professionals were doing. In the women's field, 28.8% reduction. In the men's field, a 25.5% reduction, 2024 to 2025, which I assume is a combination of learning how to use Race Ranger and also learning what Race Ranger can and can't record. Additionally, both the men and women had a reduction in the average single longest draft time. So that is the average of, for each race, who was in the draft zone for the longest time. And that was also reduced. So I guess Race Ranger is proving that it's stopping the general habits, improving the general habits of pros in these fields.
Yeah, now it's interesting, Ironman actually chose not to release individualized data to the open public, whereas Challenge, we saw from Challenge Roth, they actually made it very public and
name and shame.
T100 events. Yeah, so everyone can see and it's very open. Instead, what Ironman have decided to do is release these sort of averages, and then they are sending the athletes, and apparently there's more than 600 personalized reports that will be sent to these professional athletes with their data, and should anyone's be that bad, they will actually reach out to them and have a word with them and give them an individualized improvement.
Yes, they do have all the individual data, they're just not sharing it with us. And yeah, it says athletes identified with high illegal draft zone time and frequent yo-yos will be called to discuss individual improvement plans, which sounds like there'll be some kind of meeting with Jimmy Riccatello or something to tell you how to not draft.
And I have read, it goes on to say that may, or individual metrics may factor into future selection decisions for Pro Series fields. I don't know how they go about that, but if someone's is so bad and they contact them to try and improve it and they don't, then that could go on to
not let them into certain Pro Series events. Well, they have said that due to the success of this, that it will actually not only be included in the 2026 Ironman Pro Series, it will actually be expanded to many more Ironman events and Ironman 70.3 events, over 40 next year in 2026. So not just the Pro Series, but the pro races at many other events too in 2026.
And rolling on to What the Tech, we've got a couple of little tech updates for you. So first one from Form Goggles. They have listened to user feedback and I guess the feedback was frustration that people couldn't get access to their swim straight feature, which is essentially sort of, I guess, a head-up display within their goggles showing them which way they need to swim when they're swimming open water. And they're like, we want this even on the basic package. I don't necessarily want to have to subscribe for it. And they've listened, so they've made that open to everyone, which is quite cool.
Pretty cool. Yeah. Also, in industry news, not really tech news, but there is a triathlon trade fair coming in 2026. If you've wondered why there isn't a Eurobike for triathlon, well, now there is. 28th and 29th of March in London at the Excel Centre. Tickets are already on sale for £5. That includes a whole bunch of stuff, including big celebrity names. There's going to be 2 live stages. There's going to be a full-on expo of all the industry professionals. The main stage is going to have Beyond the Finish Line with Paralympics pro athletes. Dave Ellis, I believe, is going to be there, amongst others. So yeah, head on to the website now and check that out if you are interested. Hopefully we'll be popping onto that. All right, on to your race news. This past weekend, a race could easily have happened without any of us knowing about it. Down in Patagonia in Chile, Patagonman by Xtri happened, and the reason we know about it because none other than Olympic champion Alistair Brownlee was down there doing it. Bit of a destination race, a holiday
list race.
tour. Yeah, pretty cool. Also, retiree Josh Amberger was down there, and the two of them, well, we figured it would be between the two of them. Turned out it was another Brit who took the title.
Yeah, age group triathlete Stephen Derrett actually took the win by over 30 minutes.
What a photo for his fridge, to be standing next to Alistair Brownlee and Josh Amberger on the podium. He did a 9:06:02, which is actually very impressive. They were pretty much together coming off the bike, and he opened up a 30-minute gap on the run. So run for dough. Very impressive. Alistair Brownlee ended up in third in 9:40 with Josh Amberger just 5 minutes ahead of him in 9:35. And it was also a Brit winner on the women's side. Rosie Wild, who is a professional athlete, took the win there. A not insignificant nearly 3 hours ahead of the next woman across the line. Very impressive performance by her. And obviously, I guess there wasn't that much competition there, but still very impressive on a tough course, I believe.
Yeah, definitely. Also this weekend we had Ironman 70.3 Bahrain, and wow, Georgia Taylor-Brown absolutely lit it up. 3:51:19 to set a new 70.3 distance world record.
Yeah, very impressive. And it was actually a repeat of last year's wins, because it was Georgia Taylor-Brown and Vincent Louis who took the win again, same as last year. Interestingly, we were looking at the times because pretty much all of the bike times were like 4 to 6 minutes faster than last year, across the men's and the women's. So whether they had very favourable conditions or not, I don't really know. But obviously, a world record fastest ever time over the 70.3 is very impressive. But I guess it did kind of open up a bit of a discussion in the office about the importance of times and whether they're relevant at all.
So quick recap. So obviously this is bettering Taylor Nibb's 3:53, which also only just beat the previous record, which was Laura Phillips from Dubai in 2022. But it's weird, we're kind of comparing these times and potentially on different courses, different conditions. I always found it really odd when I stepped up from short distance racing, where, to be honest, you didn't really look at the times so much. It was just, where did you place? Who won? And I came up to long distance racing, everyone was talking about times and comparing them. I'm like, why does it matter? It's like it's different year, different course. How are we comparing these times?
Yeah, well, that's always been my contention of why are we comparing times. It's completely irrelevant. I mean, it does make for good headlines.
Oh, it does. And also, I guess you see the trajectory of the sport, right? And where it's generally going. And
however, I mean, there were only 4 women on the start line of this one. And Georgia Taylor-Brown, very good performance. But I think we'll see this coming weekend, she's also racing the Qatar T100 final against many other women. And you're probably not going to see her win overall across all of those well, maybe you will.
Said it now.
But I'll eat my words if she does win. However, she hasn't set the world alight and beaten all the comers, and therefore she is the fastest racer in the world. It was clearly mostly the conditions. So maybe we should just take the times with a pinch of salt.
Anyway, we also had Ironman 70.3 Indian Wells La Quinta. We had some drama here even before the race got going.
A bit weird, yeah.
Very odd. We haven't got the full details on this, other than a golf cart went into the pro racking and damaged 2 pro athletes' bikes. So Jackie Herring and Steph Clutterbuck. It sounds like Jackie Herring came off very bad, and basically her disc wheel was destroyed and had to borrow an age grouper's wheel. It sounds like Steph Clutterbuck had a bent rear hanger for the derailleur. Managed to bend that back, and she was able to ride on it.
Yeah, weird though.
Very odd.
What was going on there? Was it just?
Do you think someone just left the handbrake off and it just rolled it's like a security van? I imagine that's probably what happened.
Possibly,
right?
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, the winner there was Kirsten Kasper from the US, Amelie Kretz in second, and Anna Bürtner in third. And what stood out there was her run split of a 1:14.10 for third place. That is ridiculously fast run, especially when you consider that third place man, Jackson Laundry, who's a decent runner, ran a 1:13.44, only a few seconds faster. That is an unbelievable run.
So impressive. So on the men's side, Sam Long took the win there by a good, over 2 minutes, almost 3 minutes actually, ahead of Lionel Sanders and Jackson Laundry in third. And more drama here, because Lionel Sanders crossed the line to be DQ'd, and then not DQ'd. Basically, he had his zipper on his front down below the sternum, and they're undone. And That is in Ironman rules.
Was a zipper
DQ.
broken? You prove that the zipper was broken, and
It's
therefore
such a stupid rule, isn't it?
it's
Come
a bit,
on.
yeah, it's a bit ridiculous.
I'm glad they reinstated his result. I mean, he didn't disappear off the results for very long. I think that was rectified quite quickly. And
he didn't have his best run, but apparently he twisted his ankle on one of the 90-degree turns, so he was like kind of hobbling in. I mean, he's always kind of hobbling on the run, but he was really hobbling in, I think.
We also had Ironman Western Australia this weekend. Lottie Wilms took the win then, 8 hours 30. Very impressive.
Yeah, and on the men's side, Cam Main took the win ahead of Caleb Noble. And that's actually a wrap for the Ironman calendar for 2025. There is actually only one race in January in 70.3 Chile in Pucón in Chile. And then there is no races until the Pro Series kicks off all the way in March. So we've got a bit of a drought now of Ironman racing.
But we do have T100 Qatar this weekend coming.
Yes, it is the finale of the T100 series in Qatar this coming weekend. And when I say weekend, a little word of warning there. It's not actually the weekend. The race is going to happen on Friday. It'll be 7 a.m. UK time, 10 a.m. local time, and that I think is midday on the Eastern Daylight Time in the US. So don't get caught out seeing the results on your social media on Friday afternoon and going, wait, what? What? It's over. The race has happened already.
And because it's the final, there are actually more points up for grabs. So there are 55 points for the win in the final versus the normal 35. In both races, it's all up for grabs.
It is, yeah, it could all change. I mean, the men's is a little bit more cut and dry. Hayden Wilder's got a perfect score. He's won 4 races out of the 4. I mean, obviously didn't win Dubai, but he's got the perfect score. He has a pretty significant 18-point margin on Helligins. However, that still means that if Helligins gets the 55 points for the win, Hayden Wilde has to finish 4th or better. In fact, if he finishes 4th, they're on equal points, and I'm not entirely sure how they split that. I imagine it'll go back on a count back on wins. Maybe they should just have a super sprint race and see who wins quickly. I think they'll go to count back on number of wins, so it would be Hayden. But that means he has to finish 4th or better if Helligins wins. So there is still very much a series to race for. But it is Hayden's to lose, I think.
Yeah, I mean, things do happen, like laps are
not counting the laps,
and things like that. So who knows?
It's been known to happen.
On the women's side, I mean, it very much is all to play for. So Kate Wolf has actually got the lead at the moment, 128 points, but she is only 6 points clear of Julie Deron and another 3 points clear of Lucy Charles Barkley.
And the difference between first and second on the points is 55 to 46, so 9 points from first to second. So literally comes down to who finishes ahead out of those 3. And it kind of means that the only way we can predict this is to go on their form. So can we take some guesses on their form going into the final race of a very, very long season?
I mean, Kate Woff has had a phenomenal season. She obviously put all her eggs in the T100 basket. Dominated Wollongong, but actually...
she's leading the series, but she hasn't actually beaten Darren or Lucy Charles Barkley pretty much since the very beginning of the series at Singapore, because either they've not been there, gone off doing other races, or either one or the other one has not been there. Darren came back last week in Dubai with a very good form, in very good shape after having a hand injury in the middle of the season. She had a fall off her bike, took her out for a little bit. Lucy Charles Barkley won T100 London and then focused on the Ironman World Championships, which ended with a bit of a meltdown on the highway. Then focused on 70.3 World Championships, which ended with a win and another world title. So what kind of form she is? Is she really tired?
Well, obviously form has been great, but what a busy season. I mean, the fact that she came back for the 70.3 Worlds and obviously performed so well, I almost feel like she must be running on fumes now. She put everything into that last couple of months of the season. Surely, but who knows?
But then the smart money would be on Julie Deron, who obviously had that mid-season break, forced break, but still a mid-season break, so probably still on the up. But then, of course, Kate Waugh has been kind of
and she must be
trajectory
and learning so much as she goes through the years. So who knows? The other big name we should mention, although not there, is Taylor Knibb.
Yeah, last year's title holder for this whole series. And she actually did really well. She got second in San Francisco early in the season, then winning Vancouver T100, and then third at the London T100, after which she just hasn't shown up to any T100 races.
No, she sort of then reverted then to focusing on Kona, which sadly obviously didn't work out for her. Second at 70.3 worlds behind Lucy. And that is it. She's not on the Qatar start list and therefore has clearly forgone her contract.
Yeah, she was a contracted athlete, obviously, because she was the title holder from last year. But yeah, that contract, I don't show exactly the wording, but I'm pretty sure it was a minimum of 6 races, including the grand final. So she's obviously foregone that contract, decided that she couldn't fit them all in this season or just didn't want to. But yeah, I do feel a little bit aggrieved that she's not there, because even if she couldn't win the series at this point, she would definitely be a good kind of spanner to throw in the works with these 3, with the other 3 going for their title and her going in there to steal some of those points would have been.
She definitely adds
really
quite a fun dynamic to the racing, doesn't she?
She does. Yeah.
Well, I guess next week we'll be discussing all of that, so stay tuned. Okay, now time for Try Spy. Last week, we had this image.
Yeah. Over-calibrated the difficulty settings.
Yeah, I apologise. We gave our editor free rein and...
yeah. He obviously thinks we know the pro triathletes way better than we do, because an image of someone's well-tanned, it must be said, hands on their base bar is, yeah, I mean...
I like to make it challenging, but we might have gone a little bit far on that one. Lo and behold, we only got a couple of guesses because nobody gets it. So we had Dennis Koeman said Jan Frodeno. I could kind of get
that,
yeah. LMC do, Rika Bogan. Sadly, neither of them. It was Panagiotis Batadas. So, yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for trying, those of you who did. This week, we have this image, and if you look carefully in the reflection, maybe you can get a clue. Say what?
Okay, some comments onto videos last week. This was actually under the show last week. We were talking about which discipline or which sport gives you, I guess, the best bang for your buck in training and has the biggest impact on your racing.
And I said I hadn't entered any triathlons from 2026.
Well, Coaching G, who clearly is a local man to us, has come with some suggestions for you, James.
Right.
He said, Stonehenge Triathlon on the 10th of May, 2026, fairly close to you, and we both have both adults and kids racing. We're about to add a kids try so you can bring your kids along. Ah, brilliant. Where they do whatever distance they can manage.
Well,
Love that.
I think my kids will be well up for that. So, yeah, maybe see you there. My kids are more into triathlon these days than I am.
Well, that was an easy sell, wasn't it? Done. I should do this more often. I think there might have been a comment about an ultra marathon 200 miler that I need to pop in. Anyway.
Don't think my kids are ready for that.
I thought I'd throw this one in because I thought actually we should address this. Jay Relford said, so is GTN Coach's Corner still a thing, or did you guys put that one on the shelf? Just curious.
Well, we kind of have put it on the shelf, mostly for logistical reasons. We don't want to not answer your questions, but also we're kind of looking at maybe in 2026 bringing in a different format where we speak to some of the best coaches in the world and have a little fireside chat with them, talk about all the coaching philosophies and everything else. So we're trying to get that off the ground. Let us know if you think that's a good idea, or if you'd just like to get us back to answering your coaching questions. If you are, then leave it. Questions down below, and maybe we'll film one next week.
Yeah, I've got to say, I did really enjoy Coach's Corner. It's really nice
too.
getting you guys engaging, sending us questions, which you definitely still can do, and maybe we'll be able to ask these coaches along the line with that sort of stuff as well.
Yeah,
so yeah,
exactly.
Also, I should probably mention we've had our sort of Black Friday, Cyber Monday offers. They are still running, so we're actually still running 50% off a lot of selected items. But if you want those items in time for Christmas, well, you need to order, if you're in the UK, by the 18th of December, in the United States by the 16th of December, in Europe, somewhere between the 11th and 19th, depending on the country, so check the website out, and the rest of the world by the 10th of December.
Which I believe is tomorrow, so get buying. Right, coming up on the channel this coming week, a certain someone decided to go for a really, really, really ridiculous run.
Yeah, it was quite a long time.
Yeah, they didn't stop running for 24 hours to see how far they could get.
Yeah, there were slight tears towards the end. So
there were some dark moments, and not just because he did it in the middle of winter.
Yeah.
That video coming soon. Trust me, it's going to be worth a watch.
Yeah. Well, thanks ever so much for tuning in this week. If you enjoyed the show, please give it a thumbs up, give it a like. We'll see you next time.